Hello and welcome back to another episode in the A.N.I series, where today we'll be taking a look at the Mcfarlane Superman 2025 Ultraman. Now, this is more specifically the battle damaged version, which I didn't realize until I got it. But without further ado, I was a real fan of this character in the movie. As of this recording, it just came out within the last week, I believe. Last week, 2 weeks. And I watched it over the weekend, and I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed this take on Ultraman, and I really enjoyed the costume, which I figured, well, they made a figure of it, might as well pick it up. They labeled it as the deluxe version, but I don't know if that's due to the paint applied to it or accessories, which we will get to later on in the video. So without a further ado, let us move on to, well, how he looks. Which, if you just hold on 1 second, I forgot to put on my gloves there for a bit. So taking a look at his head sculpt, you can see that it is indeed battle damaged, though this, I can't pinpoint a specific scene, mostly due to, if you watched the movie, you'll know what the true battle damaged look he has, which with the mask, it's quite more extensive. This more so appears to just be a repaint of the standard Ultraman, which if you want to take a look at that, you'll just have to do a quick Google search, which I believe it's just it's going to be more so of this purple. But this battle damage kind of brings it a little bit closer to the film, where it's more muted, more dark. But yeah, sculpt-wise, I don't see anything too wrong with it. It all looks nice. The Mcfarlane joints are all sculpted with the costume, which looks very clean. He does have pins, which is standard for all Mcfarlane figures, but it doesn't really bother me. And with this costume mostly being in one of two colors, I think it really works out. And yeah, the only weird thing going on is this weird little spot between the hip cover and the leg. But I don't know if that's just because of its soft material, and I did have it posed like this for a tiny bit before this review, so I don't know if it's just due to that. So I'd say if you're in a store and you see multiple of these, I just, give them a quick look over and see which one looks the best to you. Another thing to note is, before we even get to articulation, these covers for these shoulders were really stuck into the torso, which I've never seen happen before with one of these Mcfarlane figures. And I don't know if that's just due to the paint, but I mean, I got it all loosened up now. What I did was I popped off the arm, and I went in with just a regular dull kitchen knife, not a sharp one, just something to push in there, and then lift and squeeze that part out. And then I did a quick wash with hot water, just to get that to move around nicely like that. So I don't know, I don't know if that was intentionally glued in there or not. I don't know. But yeah, that's just my own personal experience with this figure. But moving on to articulation, he has a ball joint up here in the head, which will allow for nothing too crazy up, which I think it's being hindered by the sculpt here, but I don't know if they could have done a slightly different ball joint here to not have that be a situation. But I mean, for a character who can fly, it's a little bit of a bummer you can't get him looking too up. But I mean, it's not the worst. For down, he looks about that much down. Yeah, nothing too crazy, but I mean, it's there. And of course, the head can turn 360 degrees, And you do get a tilt, which works actually not that bad, pretty nicely. More so here for some reason. I feel like this is more than this. Or is it? No, okay, it's about the same. But yeah, could be slightly better, but I mean, it's there. And maybe with some modifications, you might find a way to make it even more so. So moving on to the torso, and again, that detail is really nice, along with the paint. The battle damaged paint I do quite like. It's got like a, I wouldn't say a wash, maybe it is a wash, more like a dry brush type effect. But for, you know, for what it is, it's nice. And as you've seen before with the shoulders, they're not like a true butterfly joint in the sense that it's a disc and a ball into a socket. So it's more so going to move all around that ball joint and will give off the illusion of a butterfly joint without being, you know, not like the butterfly joints in a Marvel Legends, that is. So you're not getting that type. But for what it is, I think it works pretty good. You do get a upper bicep swivel, but with the way that they cut it, something feels a little weird. Or at least when you do it like this. I mean, it's still following the general idea of the arm, but with how protruding the forward bicep and the back, I don't know, what would you call that muscle? I'm just gonna call it the back of that upper arm. It, I don't know, it just makes it look ever so slightly weird when it's, you know, rotated that far. But, I mean, if you keep it in moderate turns, it'll look fine. Here we have a double pinned arm joint, which allows for a full bend at the arm. The elbow looks about as fine as you can get it. And this goes for both arms, that is. For the wrist, you get a disc that allows for up and down, and every disc can be a swivel, well, a peg. Every peg and or ball joint can be a swivel. And the hands are indeed removable, which we'll see with the accessories later on. Moving back to the torso, there is a ball joint here and here in the lower waist, so you get two. Showing off this top one, you get a pretty decent movement, and this torso is a hard piece along with the middle abdomen, so you're not going to get too much flex. But this crotch piece is indeed a soft plastic, so with that you get about that far forward. And again, this bottom ball joint does everything a ball joint does, and with all of them working together, you get about that far back, about, if I can move the arm, that far forward, about this far to the side on both sides. And this looks like a funny pose. Moving on to the lower legs. Actually, let me just straighten out his arms here. You get a kick that's about 90 degrees, but you will be flexing that crotch piece. So I would, I would advise be careful. You don't want to accidentally tear that. You do get a back that technically goes that far back, but again, you're going to be really stretching that crotch piece. So I would, again, just be very, very careful with that. It actually kind of looks like it's already kind of pushed that up a tiny bit. So, oh well. You do get, you could technically push it all the way, because the articulation is there to push it in, but it's going to pinch it. And that's just going to look a little weird. In fact, I may have damaged it. I can't tell. Yeah, so do that at your own risk. There's no real dedicated thigh swivel, but you can fake one. So you get about, not much there, but you can get it inward. And again, all the sculpt work is nice. It is there. You get a double bend at the knee with pretty nice knee pad. So it's not looking too weird. And then for the foot, you got a disc that allows it to go about that far down, that far up. I believe it can rotate at the peg, which will, let's see, you get a very slight angle. Not a true rocker, but can we turn that joint? We can, which will fake a rocker joint for us. But it's not the easiest thing to turn, but you can turn it. I'm just trying to turn it back into place. Here we go. And finally, with the foot, with almost all Mcfarlane figures, you get a pretty nice toe joint, which kind of feels ratcheted. And that's because I think it is. So yeah, the articulation is all there. I think it's more so with some of the poses you'll do, it's going to look kind of awkward. But it is indeed there. And I will say he is pretty easy to stand due to all of his joints. So with that out of the way, for accessories, you get a Mcfarlane collecting card, which, what does it say back here? Mysterious and powerful foe working for Luthor Corp is a physical threat to even Superman. Or threat even to Superman. Ugh, I cannot read. But yeah, it's very nice. It's got a little shine to it. I have a couple of these, but I don't really collect them, and I usually lose them, and they end up in the strangest of places. Under mats, different rooms. Makes me question how they even get there. And another thing you get is the stand that is always provided with a Mcfarlane figure. This one having DC being silver painted, which is always nice. And it's always nice to get one of these stands. And just to see if it works, well, we'll just assume that this guy is just falling over 24/7. So we are going to plug him in. If I can do it. It's a little bit of a hard push, but there we go. So yeah, that works pretty well, because he was definitely falling before. For other accessories, you get a series of hands, which for a long time wasn't really common for Mcfarlane to do, but has become more so nowadays. Well, just accessories in general. So with that, you get 2 sets of each type of hand, that being the open resting hands that he comes included with. You get a left and right of these gripping hands, which, well, I wouldn't say like gripping hands, but more like a clawed hand. So there's the left. And here is the right, if I can get that in focus. How close can I get that in focus? These also have the paint that the main figure comes with. Here we have the actual holding hands. And again, you get left and right. So here's the right. They're sculpted nicely. And here is... oh, I don't want to drop that. And here's the left. And I'm sure you'll find things for him to hold. And last but not least, you get 2 sets of fists, if they want to stay in focus. That being the right fist, which looks pretty decent, and the left fist, which again, pretty well sculpted. I just wish this camera could get a better zoom in on here, or actually, no, yeah, no, that's about as zoomed in as I can get. Yeah. And let's try that out real quick. So we're just gonna pop off this hand as I knock everything into each other. And we're just, actually, let's take a look at that pig. Somewhat of a mushroom pig, so this should be pretty secure. And we'll push that back in. And I think that looks pretty good. Sculpt is nice. And it fits. I'm not going to show switching the hands. I mean, if it works on one, it's probably going to work with the rest. If I'll record a section if it doesn't, but you'll see that more in photos. So with that being out of the way, let's move on to some size comparisons. Alrighty, first up we have the SH Figuarts Boon Boonger Red, who is now having difficulties standing. Here we go. So yeah, so with Mcfarlene, their scale is 7-inch, so he's not going to work too well with a lot of, you know, standard retail figures or imports. So with that out of the way, we have the Maximum Series Spider-Man, which, if you can stand right there, yeah, Ultraman is just absolutely towering over him. Man, I didn't realize how big he was until comparing these guys. Holy. And for something a little bit more into scale, we have the Mcfarlane Batman Superman Fusion, who is one of my personal favorite designs to have come out. I would compare him to a normal Superman or the new deluxe Superman from 2025, but I don't have him quite just yet, so we're just going to have to pretend that, you know, he's there. But I'd assume they'd be the same height, but this is a pretty standard height, I would say, for most Mcfarlane figures, so I think he fits in well. And last but not least, the SH Figuarts Uma Musume Rice Shower. Just to show how that scales. And I don't know why, that's just funny to look at. But yeah, with that out of the way, I'd say if you really enjoyed the Superman film, I think he is a good addition. I mean, the price was more than your standard Mcfarlane. I believe he was at 30. I've seen him on Amazon for 34, 35 plus 40, somewhere around there. So I probably, you know, just go out. You can get him at Walmart. So if you go to Walmart, you can get him for retail price. I don't know if he's shown up anywhere else, but I mean, for me, that's where he appeared. So, yeah, I'd stick to the low end. If he's over 40, it's kind of hard to recommend, because for what is labeled a deluxe figure, he doesn't come with much, and what he does come with, I feel like should have been standard. But, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know if it's because of the paint that they're calling it a deluxe, but, again, is what it is. I don't think there's been I don't think there other companies have announced any figures. I don't think there's an SH Figuarts yet. I believe they just announced a Superman for SH Figuarts, but that's gonna take some time to release, and this Mcfarlane isn't gonna be compatible with that figure whatsoever. And I don't even know if they're gonna make an Ultraman, which I hope they do, because, again, I really liked this character and I liked this design. But for now, I feel like he's very adequate for, you know, any collection. DC fans or just Superman fans or just McFarlane fans. I think it's a good base body. It has all the articulation you need, and I really think that's about it. I don't, I don't think there's any more I can say. If you want to see me live, I'm on a channel called HexHap, where me and my friends build and paint Warhammer miniatures. I think I've been switching that word lately. But yeah, that's always fun. I think, fun commentary to be had for sure. If you want to see some gaming, I'd highly recommend my friend Commissar Yoraki's channel. He's been pumping out a lot of content, and it would be really cool if you go check out his channel. It's a lot of fun stuff over there. And with that, I've been a Mono in the Red, hoping to see you in the next video. Oh, and I keep forgetting to say this at the end. Like, comment, subscribe. Please do leave a comment. I would love to get your thoughts on any of the videos that you've seen or of any of the figures. Yeah, I think that's it. With that being said, I'll see you next time. Peace.